Well, welcome to the track parent meeting. I thought we'd try something different this year. Everybody's really busy this time of year and try to meet again for another night. I thought we'd try something on the online version. Uh, Welcome to the 2018 season. Myself, Coach Verkstis, and Coach Peoples and Coach Schneider are looking forward this season to working with your young athletes. And one thing I want to make note, there's a answer to the Google form question at the end of this video. The spring season goes by quickly, especially if you've been around for the last 3 or 4 years. You definitely notice once we get back from spring break, it just flies through. Especially for the seniors, it's going to be a mad rush to the end there. Most of our season is packed into really 5 weeks, so it's going to go quick. As far as team rules, uh, not a whole lot. We abide by the athletic handbook, and really our big thing: show up to practice. Spring is a busy time, and the play is going on, and many things come up. And if you can't make practice, tell Coach Schneider, Coach Peoples, or myself. All three of us are in the building, and we're usually pretty easy to get a hold of. Practice times are typically going to be 2:45 to 4:15, and especially before spring break, this quite often it's weather dependent. And looking at the long range forecast, seems like our weather is going to be somewhat on the cool side. After spring break, practice times will be the same, but typically pre-meet days, which it's like we have a meet, day off, meet, those days are typically going to be shorter. Most of our home meets, I shouldn't say most, but at our home meets, we expect the athletes to stay around and help out with all the events. Looking at our schedule here, our first, especially after spring break, we have 1, 2, 3, we have 4 home meets, then we have 2 away, 2 home, 2 away, and then we're at regionals. Speaking of transportation, for all the away meets, the conference away meets, I should say, there will be bus transportation. And if you need to take your athlete home after the meet, I'll need a transportation release form, and you can have your athlete pick those up in my room. I'll have them on the table up front there. A couple meets that run a little bit different. When we go to East Grand Rapids on 5/5, typically the kids just drive themselves or the parents drive them to that. At that meet, there's limited entries. An athlete may be just running 1 or 2 events, and they're through the course of the day, and we'll give them a rough time frame on that, and that's worked well in the past. Excuse me. The other one is the Division II regionals at Houseman, and that's on 5/18, which is a Friday. Typically, we leave about noon, and that bus is a drop only, and that meet goes from 1:30 till 8:30 at night. Kids that aren't running till the afternoon session, which starts about 5, really don't need to show up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they can get down there after that. Parents, if you can help at the meets, please do. Track is a little bit different than some other sports, is it takes a lot of people. There's 17 events, and there's a lot of different areas to work at. And if you can do that, please contact Mr. Spazzaro. If your athlete's going to get any type of compression shorts or tops or anything, the color's black. It just makes it nice and easy. Then we don't have to worry about the relays, and black's usually easy to find. As far as shoes, make sure they have good running shoes. Spikes are optional, but most kids do have them for the running events. And here's my shameless plug for Mr. Taylor at the Runnery. He's been a good supporter of the program over the years, and he would appreciate your business. Playing time, it's kind of interesting. In track, it's pretty objective. The distances, the watch, it's pretty easy to see where athletes fall in relationship to everybody else. Everybody's going to run every meet. Now on the invitationals, we typically have limited entries, so they may not run. Now if they're running 2 or 3 events, they may end up running 1 or 2, but that's kind of where that goes. The other one is at regionals. We can only enter 2 at regionals, and they need to be competitive times and distances. So if we have somebody that's not very competitive in a certain event, we probably wouldn't enter anybody in that particular event. Well, with that, if you have any questions, you can email me. You can see us at practice. You can see us at the meets. We're pretty accessible that way. And the answer to the question, and the question was, what was my first car? Unfortunately, this is going to date me a little bit, but it was a 1967 Le Mans, 4 on the floor. And that baby was a piece of Detroit iron running down the road. Well, that's really all I've got to say here. As I mentioned, if you've been around the last couple, 3 years, you kind of know the routine. And for the new parents, welcome to the group. And with that, we'll let you get going. Thank you very much.